Going on with everybody, man? Hope everybody's having a productive day, staying blessed. One life, one chance. We only got one opportunity to do this, so let's stay focused and stay on that right track of mind. With that being said, a couple of subscribers asked me to do a Patreon page to give exclusive content because I was told that publishing my paperwork on YouTube would cause my YouTube to get red flagged. And so that's what I'm going to do, because I have a lot of footage that, like, behind the scene footages of just me out and about, like Vegas trips, my road trips, in the studio, how the studio works, the camaraderie in the studios with other rappers. And I think those will be good contents to share. Plus, I'll tell further explanations in this platform and publish my pictures there, so that way people can get a better insight of what I'm talking about, because since I can't share it on YouTube, as well as it's good. It's under review right now, so that's all they told me. So I gotta wait to see if I'm gonna get approved or not, and I still gotta learn it. So it's gonna be a little bit, but I'll have it available and connect the link to YouTube so you guys can join the exclusive community, and I hope we can still engage on there as well. With that being said, I got a couple of questions I got several questions that were asked, and just want to let you guys know, the more you guys ask me questions and the more you guys allow me to provide my insight, my opinion, or my personal experiences with the rest of you guys are making it more of an opportunity for me to grow as a person, because it helps me reflect, recollect all my past ways, my ways of thinking. And I actually get to sit here and dissect it, even though I have done it before, but I haven't done it before also. And I'm actually growing as a person, and I got to be grateful for that. You guys are helping me really do this. So with that being said, the first question says, what happens if you remove someone off the general population and they go SNY and you show up on the SNY? What happens? Well, for the Northerners and Southerners, everything's ran through a chain of command. So, but unless you're the individual that actually stabbed this dude, which there will be an 8-12 chrono, basically saying that you guys could never be on the yard together. It's called enemy concerns. So you'll never run into somebody that you poked in the hole unless he signed off saying that it's okay, we can coexist with one another. And that takes a long process to get done. But if you go to the SNY side and you're there with an individual who knows that you probably put him in the hat, that you actually put the light on him and got rid of him, for the ex-Northerners, 90% of the time, they're not really going to do nothing. Their mentalities are a little different. They look at it like, man, those are the ways of the past. Things took place on the main line. They're not going to disrupt their own program in order to retaliate. Some that have nothing to lose and got life might just pick up that banger and just say, you know what, you ruined my career, you ruined my life, so, ahí te va, eye for an eye. A lot of the ex-Southerners, their mentalities are a lot different. Even though we come from the same backgrounds and the same type of training, they're going to look at it like, you know what, you put me in a hat, bro. I lost my whole life. They probably will retaliate. Most of the time, if they're Cinqueros at that, they're going to, no matter what, the Cinqueros, they look for a reason to jump somebody. That's their thrill. They don't care about what it's about. If it's a reason to go up, they're going to go up on you. And they're going to come deep. Some that are non-affiliates, it's up to them. It's their decision whether they want to bury the hatchet or actually just engage in warfare and retaliation and just feel some type of getbacks, feel some type of satisfaction that, they did something back since they were done wrong. So that's how that usually takes place. But say, for example, like Zapatistas, independent riders, we often have policies that, we just leave those old attitudes to the past. There's nothing that could be done. If beating this guy up is not going to change anything, it's only going to cause more people to catch more cases. Because all it takes is that a guy's eye to get split open or his head cracked open or he gets stitches. And now the DA is becoming real strict on the gang violence that's taking place on the SNYs, where you just caught 5 to 7 years for something that you really can't even correct because it was done on the main line. So you got to be able to stop and think before you react and realize, like, is this sacrifice worth making? That's my answer to that. Now he says, do I see SNY gangs becoming a dominant group on the yards and traditional groups dissolving like fallen empires in the yards and on the streets? Yes and no. Yes, they're becoming dominant on the SNY side. But I remember I used to talk to some Cinqueros and the Zapatistas, because there was a time when the IGI hit our building on the gang module on 4 block in Kern Valley. And they were all basically saying, look, they pulled us, everybody out, every STG group out in the day room, and said, look, you guys are going to start signing your chronos, and you guys are all going to be going back to the mainland. So you guys want to act like gang members? We're going to put you back on the mainland and see how you like it. Everybody was like, okay. But you can tell that a lot of individuals weren't ready for that. And even then, that kind of threat actually stopped a lot of people from still being in these STG groups. They defected and walked away and went and did the program because they weren't ready for that. They didn't understand the severity that this could have happened, and it was going to happen, and it started happening right before I left, where we were getting integrated with the GP population and we were getting rushed. And I hate to say it, and I admit that there's a lot of people defect. You know, they become SNYs. So a lot of them come out to the streets and just mind their own business, take care of their families, take care of their responsibilities, and just abandon the criminal lifestyle. But then there's a lot of them that come out here and they represent. But in my point of view, just from my eyes only, like I told everybody else, we ain't ready for that war. We're not. Because they're sending like 3 or 4 STGs to a general population line against 50, 60 people. And we're getting hurt. And then we're going back to the SNYs because, you know, they obviously, the administration says, well, these ones can't program right there. So let's try another group. You know, this whole setting up these little gladiator fights, quote unquote. We're not ready for that war. I think we'll dominate the SNY side only because the general population isn't on that side. And I think both sides are going to continue to exist equally, like a balance and weight factor. But you got to remember, a lot of these STG groups have only been around for the last 10 years. And they're still not organized. We have a long ways to go of growth. And we're too busy killing each other over little papeles, little $50 papers of heroin and crystal meth. And we're kind of chaotic. We're too much chaotic to where I don't think that we'll grow as big as the Black Hand or the NF and take over streets and federal prisons and other states and branch out on a worldwide basis. No. As you can see, it's a revolving door of violence. All we're doing is, just like back in the day, in the 50s, the Black Hand, they started off as the first dominant group, but they haven't fallen. I Googled them. They're to this day, they're bigger and badder than ever. And now they're at Northern California cities making members. You know, they're going to continue to grow. They're in multiple states across the United States. They've grown. But look what the NF did in 1968. Prior to that, there was a lot of former groups that actually try to revolt and take a stance and resist and lost their lives for it. And then they accomplished it. And then throughout the time, how many times did you hear about the Nuestra Raza rebelling and revolting against the NF and creating their own street regiments and taking it over? Until 1997 when the 5-9 filter came out. And then after that, then it's the Riders. Now in the Riders, then you see Scrappy's groups. Like, it's a continuous cycle of everybody trying to reestablish themselves. And more groups are coming out, So I don't see it as, you know, like, I don't see them as dominating, but I don't also see them as dissolving. It just seems like there's always going to be a different uprise, a new uproar. And I don't know if it's ever going to stop. So I don't really know where it's going anymore, because everybody's just trying to create their own thing and be something. Just like the Italian Mafia. One family came out, next thing you know, 5 families came out, next thing you know, cities after cities after cities had their own families. Everybody wants to be a part of something, but everybody wants their own thing. And that's why I feel like a lot of them are going to fall. Some of them might continue to exist. But talking about the SNYs, I honestly believe that we're still stuck in our old ways and bad habits that's so detrimental to our growth and our health and our well-being and our welfare on the streets and in there, that I don't see us becoming dominant as you would see a lot of these other organized crime groups. I don't see that happening. And then somebody always asks me why the STGs on the SNY fight so much. It's the most pettiest stuff. Whether it's a MAC rep position, whether it's a $50 debt, $100 debt, old stuff that happened on a different yard. Most of the time, it's just people just not getting along with each other, and just all it takes is a guy to get drunk, say the wrong thing, another guy reacts, they start fist fighting, both crews jump in, and then we're gonna go on a war in a few facilities for a couple years until just to see who's the bigger man, who's the bigger faction. And it's all irrelevant nonsense. I fought in so many batteries and jumped so many people and so many rides. And at the end, I just sit there in the hole so many times and just realize, like, man, that was so unnecessary and it wasn't even worth it. Like, what did we accomplish? We just went right back to normal. Everybody, once it was a ceasefire and it was a peace, everybody just went back to trying to make money, chase a dope, slam their veins, bang their vang out. We didn't grow at all. We didn't gain nothing out of it. Because on the SNYs, we don't go to war if the yard's flourishing. If there's phones, dope, everybody's partying, everybody's making money, everybody's on that cell phone in the cell talking to women on the streets. Those are the times when you won't see anybody put everything at risk. But when the yard's dry, we ain't got nothing else to do but to kick it off and fight each other. And that's the coldest moral of that story, is that when we don't have nothing better to do, we're going to find a reason to fight, because fighting is what kills the time. Honestly, sad to say, fighting is what kills the time. All this extracurricular drama that we indulge in, that's so irrelevant, it's just to kill the time. Them transfers to a different hole, to a different facility, doing a couple of months in the shoe turn, coming back out to the yard, that's just killing people's time, and that's the reality of it. And that's how I looked at it when I started doing it. I was like, hey, it's just getting me closer to home at the end of the day, so might as well. And it did. But it's so irregular. And these irregularities are only either keeping our people in jail, or it's just hurting each other to the point that, like I just previously said, we're not organized like that. And we're not going to become a dominant group. We're too busy killing ourselves, when just on the other side of the fence, you have the general population, millions of men who are in that mindset, like, if we cross over, it's over for us. But we're not thinking about that on SNY, because everybody wants to just get high. That's everybody's main priority in SNY. Just getting high, making pruno, and doing their time. They forget about that long lost war that's not existing right now, because we're not in it yet. We haven't started on it until the integration policy started coming in, where they were going to put us on the GPs. So I hope that answered your question. It's a lot severe than what it is, but people are just blind to the fact. They fail to realize, like, man, something is going to take place that's gonna really check your heart. And let's see that type of person you are. A lot of these dudes on the SNYs join SNY gangs to be cool, or just to be part of something. But when it really hits the fan, then you start to see, like, everybody's true colors, like who's going to actually stand there and fight, and who's strong in their belief systems, and who's just there for popularity, just for protection. Because a lot of people run to these ST groups, especially the Sinqueros, for protection. They have their idea is power in numbers. So with that being said, man, I hope I answered you guys' questions to the best of my ability. Hope everybody has a productive day, a blessed day. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully that Patron page is up and running, so I can start publishing my paperwork out so everybody can read it and look at the pictures. Peace.